And what's the main objective of Snip?
Well, it's basically to provide people with news on the topic they care about in a convenient way, like actually giving them the news they care about.
Nice, nice. And it's all about short bits, right? So that's what we're using. And one of the things we're saying is we need more data. How are you going to try to do it? How are you going to get more information, more content for Snip?
So yeah, today we only have like several articles a day on Snip, and it's getting a great response, but we need much more. And that'll be our main focus after the token sale. Like adding more writers. Currently writers are really excited about joining Snip, but we don't yet have the capacity to onboard so many people.
Right.
So we'll be adding much more content in the near future.
Nice. So we'll hope to see that around.
Sure.
And anything you want to tell us that's super excited and what you're super energetic about?
Yeah, so like there's so much, like we're here at BitCon in Hong Kong, and there's so much excitement about blockchain. I think it's really amazing to see how we can use this technology to create new incentives, to align incentives between different stakeholders in a single ecosystem. And this is something new that isn't going away. I mean, ICO prices could go up, could go down, but like this idea of creating an ecosystem where everybody can participate, I think it's amazing, and it'll like really change a lot of stuff.
What's up everyone, my name is Michael and this is Box Mining. Today I want to talk about Snip. Snip is about summarizing news and using blockchain technology to make that possible. I'm going to talk a little bit about what this project is trying to achieve. Then I'm going to talk about the business model. Then I'm going to talk about some advantages and disadvantages of the system and some challenges they're going to face along the way. Finally, I'm going to talk about their initial coin offering, their ICO, their team, and what they're trying to raise for. This is a sponsored post, but I have reserved the rights to give my personal opinion and talk about what I think is important. And finally, of course, because this is an ICO, you do want to do your own thorough independent research, and this is not financial advice. So let's start off with what Snip is trying to achieve. So initially, just from the outside, looking at the alpha website, it's very clear what they want to do. It's news condensed into an espresso shot. Everything in an image, and when you read, it's a very short, maybe 1, 2, or 3 paragraph article summarizing what is the most important aspect of that article. So in this article, it's very clear what the news and what this update is about. The New Zealand court has ruled that Kim.com was illegally spied by local authorities, and this decision could block his extradition to the US. So it's very short and very condensed. So if you compare that to some regular news that I do read, for example, I read the South China Morning Post, and the South China Morning Post has much longer articles which kind of describe in detail what the background of something is, their own kind of opinions, some more updates. And sometimes you don't want so much information. Sometimes you just want that update and to the point. One of the reasons why news articles are longer is because they rely on advertising space to generate revenue. So they can slot in links like this, or ads in the middle, or includes ads on the side. That way, the longer the article, the more revenue it can generate. So there's an incentive to write longer articles and put that same amount of information in a longer amount of space. With Snip, they're relying on a different business model, which I'll talk about later. What Snip is also trying to do is it's trying to use machine learning and different algorithms to provide you the best content possible. So it's kind of trying to streamline that content to a personalized form so you can get more of the stuff that you're interested in rather than just read stuff that is broad and general and not targeted for you. So let's talk a little bit about the business model of Snip and what makes this possible. So with Snip, there's multiple sources of revenue generation. You can subscribe to Snip, you can tip authors, you can also advertise on the platform and or pay for an ad-free version. So unlike the South China Morning Post, which just relies on advertising, there's multiple sources of income, and it uses blockchain technology to make this possible because you can use micropayments. So with Snip, one example is you can tip an author for writing good content and to promote his stuff. This also sounds a little bit similar to Steam. So if you guys use Steemit, you guys know that I'm a big user of Steemit, and I use Steemit to also read news as well. With Steemit, there's a little bit of a difference though. One of the differences is with Steemit is that it's not one user, one vote. Steemit has Steam Power, where users with more Steam Power, more Steam on their account, can have a bigger say in creation and creating what makes things important. With Snip, it's always about one user, one vote, and it's also trying to target news specifically. So it's kind of like the Steemit, but with news and with a slightly different rule system. Instead of using their own blockchain, you use ERC tokens called Snip coins, which can use to either buy services or tip authors, and authors receive Snip coins and then can trade that on the open market and change that with fiat currency or any other cryptocurrencies of their choosing. So this allows for a more decentralized news creation and curation. And this also lets your average user to contribute articles that they think is important and get rewarded for their work. So now let's talk about some advantages and disadvantages of the system. The immediate advantage is that they have a very condensed news website with all the information in there in a very packed, concise format. So the format itself is quite interesting. Another thing is that users can contribute articles, so now you have more diversity, and also because they're using IPFS, they're actually more immune to censorship. And with enough people, they can generate enough interest and enough interesting news to be quite a good source of information. So let's talk about some disadvantages as well. Because they rely on user-generated content, information accuracy might be slightly lower than a professional journalist. But then of course, right now with current journalism, it's actually quite hard to get accurate information anyways. Another disadvantage might be that people like longer articles. If you like longer articles, then I really don't think this platform is for you. Something like Steemit, where they do promote longer articles, the average newspaper is probably a little bit better. I personally think the biggest disadvantage is the difficulties in bringing up such a platform. So for such a platform to work, you need a large number of people contributing articles to it, and you also need people to read it to actually create and tune the algorithm so it's very suitable. One example for this is, for example, the Bing and Google comparison. Google has much more people using the search engine, and that way they have a better way of sorting the information out to what people actually like. Whilst for Bing, they don't have enough usage data to actually give you good content, and that's the excuse Microsoft always uses for why Bing isn't as relevant as Google. So I think something like this is quite true with Snip as well. With more users using it, they're going to have better and better information and better information sorting. But the problem is building that consumer usage, building that number of users. So let's talk about the crowd sale and ICO. So they're offering 1 billion Snip tokens, and they're offering 30% of that for sale right now. So they're trying to offer 30% of all Snip for sale for a total cap of $8 million US. The Snip can then be used to tip, to be used for subscriptions, to be purchased advertising space, so very much like Steam. In terms of other distributions, they're leaving 30% of Snip for a future token sale if the project goes well. They're also giving some to the team in a locked format, and they're going to put a pool out for writers and developer bounty pool so they can promote this platform and to develop it as well. In terms of their team, they have 3 core members of their team, Rani, and Alfred, and 2 advisors. So it's a small team of very dedicated people, and they already have a working alpha that is designed by the team. I would love to hear what you guys think about Snip. Have you guys tried using it? I've tried using it, and I found it quite interesting because I personally like that very quick, concise bit of news. So I really want to see how this platform develops and if it can be as comprehensive as I hope it can be. I'd love to hear what your opinions of Snip and this project as well. I would love to hear them in the comment section below. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time.